What's up, everybody? This is the Gridiron Gilly Show. I'm the host, Gridiron Gilly. This show is for anybody who's ever worn pads or worn out the remote watching football. You don't have to play the game. You just have to love the game, and I hope that's why you're here. On this episode, I will be quickly recapping Week 11 college football and breaking down some games, Week 12 college football. But before I do any of that, I'm going to get me a sip of this C4 Sour Gummy Splash with zero sugar and performance energy. It's a sport and fitness performance energy drink. What a delicious sour gummy splash that is. All right, so let's get started, okay? Last week, I broke down 8 college football games, and they were UTSA, USF. I took USF, and they won. Tulane and Memphis. I took Memphis. Tulane won. Northwestern, USC. I took USC, and USC won. BYU, Texas Tech. I think I took Texas Tech. Pretty sure I took Texas Tech, and they won. Oregon, Iowa. I took an Iowa upset. Almost happened, but Oregon won. Texas A&M and Mizzou. I took A&M to cover, and they did. LSU, Alabama. I said LSU would either score, or LSU would either win the game or not score a touchdown at all. They didn't score a touchdown at all, so Alabama won. And then Duke at UConn. The reason I broke down that game was because I thought it was going to be good, and it was good. UConn actually won the game, and UConn's a pretty good team. They've got 3 losses on the year. All 3 losses came in overtime, so they have a very good chance of being undefeated. And their quarterback's playing better than any quarterback in the country, Joe Fignano. I know you don't know who that is. I just found out who he was a couple weeks ago, but the guy's a real baller at UConn. So, yeah, those are the games I broke down last week. I also did some college football playoff talk last week. I said who I thought would be in the playoff and who isn't going to be in the playoff, who's going to win their conference, who's not going to win their conference. I said that I don't know who's going to win the ACC, but I said Virginia and Louisville would not win the ACC. I said that. It's on TikTok. Last week, both those teams lost. Louisville, they got 2 conference losses, I believe, but Virginia is still ranked 12 in the country or something along those lines. So Virginia is still in the hunt. But if Virginia winds up in the college football playoff, or if they wind up in the ACC championship, especially if it's like Virginia versus Duke, dude, that's bad for college football. Nobody wants to see that. Everybody and their mother wants to see SMU, Georgia Tech in the ACC championship. That's what I want to see, and that's what I'm banking on. That's what I'm betting on. But regardless, I said SMU, Georgia Tech, Duke, Pitt, those teams are out there in the ACC. Those are the teams I got my eye on. I think Duke has a winnable schedule the rest of the way. Pitt, they got a tough schedule. And then SMU, Georgia Tech plays Georgia, but it's not a conference game. SMU, they play Louisville next week. I'm going to be there. Hope SMU beats them. I think they will. But anyways, that's all I want to say about last week. Let's look into this week. I'm going to be fast. I'm going to rattle these games off, and I'm going to tell you what I think. Again, I think I took 8 games this week. First one I'm taking is Friday night, 7 p.m., Clemson at number 15, Louisville. Clemson at number 15, Louisville. Louisville's favored. The spread's minus 3.5. Total's 51.5. Louisville money line's minus 175. Clemson is plus 145. All right, let's look at everything I wrote down here. I wrote down Clemson's quarterback, his numbers, the running back, the wide receivers, defensive end, linebacker, a couple guys on that defense are pretty good. Louisville's numbers. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. Here's what I did write down though here at the bottom, because this is what matters. I said Louisville has run the ball well ever since the Miami game. They ran for over 100 yards ever since Miami. They've beaten Miami. They ran for over 100 yards. And even in their loss last week, they ran for over 100 yards. Okay, against Cal, they lost to Cal, but they ran for over 100 yards. I wrote down right here, I put a little asterisk beside it. I said, if Louisville can run for 100 yards offensively, they're going to win the game. And that's an offense. That's not just Isaiah Brown, the running back, who has 91 carries on the year, 782 yards, 5 touchdowns. We're not just relying on him. We're relying on the entire offense, okay? As long as you've got 100, if he rushes for 45 yards and then the backup runs for 45 yards and the quarterback runs for 10, it's 100 yards right there. They win. That's what I'm banking on. I'm banking on Louisville to run for 100 yards and beat Clemson this week. But let's look at the numbers because I got to back it up. Clemson, offensively, their best category is the passing game. Klubnik's throwing for 288 a game. That's 15th in the country. Defensively, what are they best at? Stopping the run. They only give up 106 rush yards a game, 20th in the country. Louisville, what do they do best on offense? Their best thing is throwing the football. They throw for 246 a game, which is 50th in the country. Doesn't sound that great. How are they winning games? Well, let's go look at their defense, okay? Because their defense, they're only giving up 13. They're 13th defensively in yards per game, giving up 296. They're 28th in pass defense, 22nd in run defense, and 41st in points. Okay, so they're all pretty good defensively across the board. Louisville is. And Clemson, their defense, suspect, no run game at all. Good passing game, no run game. They're one-dimensional. They're going to throw the football. Clemson's going to know that they're going to throw the football, or Louisville's going to know that that Clemson's going to throw the football. They're going to anticipate it. They're going to be ready. I hate Louisville. Can't stand them. They're just another one that's on the path for SMU to smash. Again, I got my Mustang. My Mustang on the side of my head. I got my Mustang flag right there. Pony up. Pony up, Dallas. But anyways, Louisville's probably going to win this game. I'm going to pick Louisville to win this game. I'm going to give the total 51.5. I'm going to take the under on that. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Louisville money line. I'm not going to take Louisville to cover. I'll probably take Clemson plus 3.5 because I think it's going to be really close. Within 3 points, Louisville's going to win. It's going to be under game, 23-20 or 22-21 type game. That's all I got to say. Louisville will win the game. Next game, what do we got here? Number 10, Notre Dame at number 24, Pitt. Oh, man. What's that dude's name? Pat Narduzzi. Did you see what Pat Narduzzi said? He said he don't care if they lose by 100. This ain't no conference game. A lot of people's giving him some shit about that, but I actually thought it was funny. I like Pat Narduzzi because, I mean, really, who cares? You might as well sit all your starters out. Let's see here. Mason Heinshell. He didn't start the season. He did not start the season, but he's came along. I forgot their other quarterback's name. I could have told you if you wouldn't put me on the spot because I watched them play in person last year against SMU. What was that quarterback's name? Oh, Eli Holstein. Eli Holstein was his name. Started off the year shaky. Pitt did. So they got this Mason Heinshell guy in there. He's a freshman. He's from the area. Probably grew up a Pitt fan. Plays with a lot of pride. He don't play for the money. He plays for the love of the game. Notre Dame, though, there's some dogs. Everybody's discrediting them. Well, they lost to A&M. They lost to Miami. Why are they ranked so high? It's not about what you did. It's about what you've done and what you're doing, okay? If we're going to rank teams based off of what they did the first couple of weeks of college football, Florida State would be number 10 in the country. They'd probably be number 5 in the country. They beat Alabama, okay? Number 14, Florida State beat. We're not talking. I've been in some wars on Twitter the last few days because I said the worst team in the Southeastern Conference could either win or compete in the ACC championship. And then people will send me screenshots saying, look at this, Florida State, the worst team in the ACC, already beat the best team in the SEC. My response was, nobody's beating A&M this year, but I know what they were getting at. I know what they meant. Look, I don't like that because, like I said, we're not talking about what you've done. We're talking about what you're currently doing and what you're going to do, okay? Florida State, if they play Alabama 10 times, they're going to win probably one time, maybe twice. That's neither here nor there. We're talking Notre Dame and Pitt right now. Not too much to talk about. Let's see what I wrote down. I said both teams can stop the run. Let's see. Notre Dame's defense, they're 14th in run defense. Pitt is 3rd in run defense. So I think you got Texas Tech is 1, Texas is 2, Pitt is 3. That's pretty daggum good. That means they're going to try to bottle up Jeremiah Love. Can CJ Carr beat you with his arm? Pitt's defense is 97th in the pass game. Notre Dame's offense is 26th. Oh, I said both teams can stop the run, but Pitt really can't run the football. They're 104th in run offense, but their passing game is 11th in the country. And Notre Dame's pass defense is 90th. Okay, so, yeah, but not Eli Holstein, Mason Highshow, he should be able to throw the football, actually. They're not going to be able to run it. They don't really have a good run game, obviously. I've already mentioned that. But they have a good pass game. Notre Dame's pass defense, 90th in the country, so they give up a lot. But I'm just really interested to see. I know Notre Dame just beat Navy like a drum this past week. Navy's a run-heavy football team. But I wonder what the dynamic is whenever you play a team, because everybody in the country knew Navy was going to come out and run the football against Notre Dame. I mean, that's just a given. BYU's going to run the ball. Iowa's going to run the ball. Notre Dame's Navy's going to run the football. Okay, some teams are just going to come out there and run the football. They don't have any other game plan but to run the football. Interesting dynamic here because Pitt can throw the football. Notre Dame's built to stop the run, not built to stop the pass. Pitt can throw the football exceptionally well. Can't run the football though, but they can stop it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. I do not think that, I don't know, this could go a variety of ways. Me personally, I think Notre Dame's going to win just because historically, Notre Dame's always in the mix. They're always hot. They're always a 10-plus win team. They're 7-2. Both teams are 7-2 right now. Pitt is fighting for an ACC championship spot. I say, can Pitt throw on Notre Dame's defense? I hope they can because Pitt's offense is 11th. Notre Dame's defense is 90th. But I just think the best player on the field this day is going to be Jeremiah Love. I want to see what he can do against this number three rush defense. Because honestly, I said Notre Dame would win, but I'm going to change my dynamic there. I'm going to say if Pitt can stop the run game of Notre Dame and make them beat you with the pass, I'm going to take Pitt to win the game because I just think they're going to be more prepared for the situation if that happens. The only difference is Notre Dame can beat you with a pass. They've already done it this year against opponents. If you shut down Pitt's pass game, they can't run the football. So kind of worried about that, but I'm going to take Notre Dame money line to win the game. I don't think they'll cover, but I think they'll win probably by 10 or less, probably 32-23 type game. Next game, number 12, Oklahoma at number 4, Alabama. Oklahoma 7-2, Alabama 8-1. The casual will say Alabama's going to win. No need to talk about it. Let's take a gander at it, though, shall we? Alabama, they cannot run the football. A lot of teams this year cannot run the football. Alabama's run game is 120th in the country, but their passing game is 14th in the country. And their defense, their pass defense is 10th in the country. Their run defense is 54th. So that you can run the football in Alabama. The good thing about Oklahoma is they've actually started to establish the run game here the last several weeks, running for over 100 yards the last several weeks with Blaylock back there. John Mateer, he was a Heisman favorite to start the season before he played any games. He was the man. Oklahoma's pass offense is 62nd. But Oklahoma's 7-2 for a reason, and it's because of their defense. Their defense, the numbers have declined over the last several weeks, playing some stiffer competition in Ole Miss, Tennessee, the better half of the SEC schools. And right here, you're playing the cream of the crop. You're playing the dynasty team here in Alabama, the Sabanless Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama's favored -6.5. Total's 45.5. Moneyline Alabama -238. OU +195. Someone sent me a Gmail. Man, I don't care. Anyways, before I was interrupted, I have written down right here. I said this game's going to come down to Ty Simpson versus OU's pass defense, because OU's pass defense is 22nd in the country. Their run defense is 4th in the country. If their pass defense can stuff Alabama's run or passing game, confuse Ty Simpson back there, get him. He's only turned the ball over once this year, but maybe sack him, maybe get some pressure on him, maybe get him to miss some shots, some throws, maybe call some false starts, maybe call some holding penalties even. Get them playing behind the chains. Oklahoma's odds are going to be skyrocketed then if that happens, because with Oklahoma's 4th-ranked run defense only giving up 82 yards a game, like I said, you got Tech 1, Texas 2, Pitt was 3rd, OU was 4th in run defense, and Alabama's 120th in run offense. So any given Saturday, but here's what I'll say. Alabama's defense is too good. Who's got a better offense, Oklahoma or Alabama? I would say Alabama does, but it's all because of the passing game. What does OU do well? They play defense well. They probably play defense. I'll say it. OU plays better defense than Alabama does across the board. Pass defense. I'm not talking about just one thing that they do. I'm just talking about pass defense. I mean, the numbers are here. Yards per game, OU is 7th defensively. Alabama's 18th. Defensively passing, OU's 22nd. Alabama's 10th. Rushing, OU is 4th. Alabama's 54th. And then points per game, OU is 7th, giving up 14. Alabama is 13th, giving up 17. And you can look at who these teams have played, blah, blah, blah. If OU can stop Alabama's pass game, OU is going to win this game. If Ty Simpson goes out there and throws for 300, 3 touchdowns, they're going to win the game. What Oklahoma team are we going to see? Are we going to see the Oklahoma team that played Tennessee? We're going to see the Oklahoma team that played Michigan? We're going to see the Oklahoma team that played Kent State? It just depends on who we're going to see. If you ask Gridiron Gill, the Gill pickle, I'm going to take Alabama money line. I'm going to take Alabama money line, and I'm going to take over 45.5 points, because I think both teams will score over 20 points. I do. I really, really do. South Florida at Navy. I'm going to talk about this game very quickly because I don't want to spend too much time on it. I think South Florida is going to win. South Florida's favored -10.5, total 64.5. South Florida minus 410, Navy plus 320. The reason I'm talking about this game is because both these teams are atop the American Conference. I think, personally, South Florida is going to win this game, and hopefully they have a rematch with North Texas in the championship game. If not, I would like to see Tulane in there. I think Tulane would be a contender. I had Tulane picked to lose to Memphis last week, but honestly, I thought they would win. I just picked Memphis because they had a number beside their name. But I know what Tulane's about. I know what John Summerall's about. And plus, Memphis beat them last year is another reason why I took them. I took Memphis. But I'm not going to bet against Tulane again. I'm not going to bet against North Texas again. So if North Texas and Tulane wind up playing, I'll take North Texas just because I'm a Texas guy. But this South Florida Navy game, I'll just tell you this, okay? I wrote down, I said South Florida's going to win this game, 36-14. Why do I think that? I don't know. No explanation needed. That's probably all the South Florida games I've talked about this year. That's probably the least amount of points I have them scoring. Number 20, Iowa at number 19, USC. USC is favored minus 6.5, total 49.5. USC money line minus 238. Iowa plus 195. Iowa 6-3. USC 7-2. Why in the hell is USC favored minus 6.5? I mean, Iowa just played Oregon, who almost beat them, and then barely lost. Took Oregon. I mean, the environment was crazy. It was rainy. It was snowy. It was cold. It was windy. It was all the elements. It was Iowa football. Now Iowa's going to go on the road to sunny and 75 California to take on the Trojans. The Trojans played Northwestern. I had Northwestern to cover, I think. Trojans beat them. They covered. Played some really good ball there. But I just think about the week before when USC played Nebraska. Should have lost. Barely won. They won by 4, I think. So when I look at this game, I could read you all the stats. I could read you all the numbers. I'll just hit you with this. What does Iowa do well? They run the football. 48th in the country. That's okay. Defensively, though, they're 4th in yards per game. They're 5th in pass yards a game. They're 17th in rush yards a game, and they're 5th in points a game. What does USC do well? Well, they play offense. They're 2nd in yards per game. They're 10th in pass yards a game, 22nd in run yards a game, and 7th in points. And their defense, they're middle of the pack. Yeah, I take USC's offense. I take Iowa's defense. You know the old saying, offense wins games, defense wins championships. Well, this is a game, but both these teams are in the championship conversation. Championship contenders. One's ranked 20, one's ranked 19. You can say neither one of these teams are going to be in the conference championship, and that's okay because there's 2 teams that are undefeated in that conference. So that's okay. But it's still championship football. And for that reason, I'm going to take Iowa. I took Iowa last week. They lost. I'm going to take Iowa this week. I had a feeling they might lose last week, but I like taking an upset. They're ranked 20th. I still don't call it an upset. I still don't call this an upset. Iowa's going to win this game. They're going to cover. Of course they're going to cover, but the safe bet here is Iowa plus 6.5. I'm going to say Iowa's going to win, but in the sports book, I'm going to take Iowa plus 6.5. That's a steal in my eyes. I thought Cincinnati plus 10.5 against Utah was a steal, and it wasn't. But this right here is a steal. Number 13, Utah at Baylor. Utah spread minus 9.5, total 60.5. Utah minus 375. Baylor plus 295. Baylor's offense is 5th in passing, and Utah's pass defense is 6th in the country. So that's the key matchup right there. Baylor's offense, throwing the football, versus Utah's defense, stopping you from throwing the football. Number 5 versus number 6. Utah 7-2, Baylor's 5-4. Utah, they're third in rushing offense. They run the ball well. They score a lot of points. They get a lot of yards. And their defense is very good as well. They are 6th in pass yards. They're 8th in points, only giving up 14 a game. Let's see what Baylor does well. They don't play defense well, and they don't run the football well. But hey, they do. They are 5th in the country in pass yards. So this could be one of those games where Utah wins it like 48 to like 42. This could be a game where Utah wins it 42 to 12. How do you see it? You ask Gridiron Gil Vester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone is going to tell you this is not going to be a 40-something, or a 30-something, or even a 20-something game. Utah is going to cover. They're going to win this game by more than 10 points, and they're going to win it. I might do like an alt spread and see whatever the furthest I can go. Utah minus 22.5. And I'll just bet that because I have written down right here, Utah will run the ball. They'll run for a lot of yards. Baylor will not stop them. Utah wins this game 42-13. Have it written down. I'm standing on that. If it happens, if the score is 42-13, I'll get a Utah tattoo. I don't have any tattoos. No tattoos at all. No ink on this skin. But if Utah wins this game Saturday, 42-13, Gridiron Gilly will get a Utah Ute logo tattooed on my left rear cheek or my right rear cheek. I don't know yet. I'll let you decide which cheek should Gridiron Gill get the Utah Ute logo tattooed on. Number 11, Texas. At number 5, Georgia. That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. UGA, Georgia. -6. Total 47.5. Georgia at money line. -230. Texas +190. Texas 7-2. Georgia 8-1. I said it last week. I'll say it this week, and I'm going to keep saying it until someone stops me, or until Texas just screws it up. If Texas can win 2 of the next 3 games, they will be in the college football playoff. Mark my words. Because their next 3 games are Georgia, number 5, Arkansas, number 105 probably, and then Texas A&M, number 3. You got to win 2 of those games if you're Texas. 2 top 5 teams you're playing in 3 weeks. And you're playing this one on the road and you're playing that one at home. You got to get a win somewhere, whether it be Georgia here. If you lose to Georgia, you're 7-3. You have to beat Arkansas. You have to beat A&M. A&M's a home game. A&M's probably going to be the easier one to win. I think A&M's a better team than Georgia, but I just think the rivalry there, the atmosphere, the home game, I think it's going to play in Texas's favor. Now, if Texas wins this game, they still need to win that game. If they lose I think they'll still be in the playoff. But you still need to win it. The atmosphere is still going to be hype. It's just going to solidify Texas' chances of even more of being in the college football playoff if they win both games. I want Texas to win this game against Georgia. I really, really, really do. And I think Texas will be in the playoff. So I think Texas will win 2 of the next 3 games. I think they'll beat Arkansas, and I think they'll beat either Georgia or Texas A&M. I want to say Georgia will lose to Texas Saturday, but every year they played, I've said Texas would win. Last year I said Texas would win 2 times, and they didn't. They lost to Georgia twice last year. Just before I made this video, I went back and looked at the box score from those games. Carson Beck, he threw like 3 picks one game. The next game, he got benched for Gunnar Stockton. What does Georgia do well offensively? They run the football. What does Texas do defensively? They stop you from running the football. What does Texas do good offensively? Well, their best category is passing the football. What is Georgia's best category? Stopping the run. Well, you're not going to have to stop the run against Texas because they're probably not going to run against you. But Texas, here's the dealio. Texas and Georgia are very similar in this. Texas finds a way to win. Georgia finds a way to win. Georgia's played a lot of close games this year and won a lot of close games. Lost a close game even. And Georgia had to come from behind against Tennessee. They had to come from behind against Ole Miss. Should have lost to Tennessee if their kicker didn't suck. But it is what it is. Georgia is 17th in third down offense. Texas is 81st in red zone offense. Georgia 17th in red zone defense. I mean, if you can take 3, Texas, if you can get down there and take 3, I would take it. But what you don't want to do is take 3, Georgia takes 7, you take 3, Georgia takes 7. You're looking at a 14-6 game. Still a one-possession game. But you go down, you take 3, you get 9-14. Georgia go down and score. That'll be, 21-9? That's the kind of game you don't want to happen. And that's the kind of game that we don't want to see. We want to see Texas come into Athens and slit some throats, okay? I have written down right here, Texas needs to throw the football. They need to get first down. They need to sustain drives. They need to have long drives, keep Georgia off the field, get that defense tired. And then when Georgia comes out there, you just gotta bite down on your mouthpiece and play football. You gotta get them playing behind the chains. Georgia, I got them abbreviated here as UGA, UGA. Georgia, I said they need to confuse Arch. Don't think it'd be that hard. Got a good defensive-minded coach over there, and Kirbyas Smart. I think Texas has a better chance of beating Texas A&M than they do Georgia. I'm taking Georgia and win this game 25-20. That's all there is to it. That's all I got to say. And this last game I'm going to talk about, TCU at number 7 BYU. BYU's favored, minus 5.5. Totals 52.5. BYU minus 218. TCU plus 180. TCU was 6-3 and BYU was 8-1. What does TCU do well? They throw the football. They're 9th in the country. What do they do well on defense? Surprisingly, they stop the run. They're 35th in run defense. What did BYU do well? They run the football. 200 yards a game, 23rd in the country. And then defensively, what do they do well? Everything. They're pretty good on defense. They just took an upsetting loss to Texas Tech last week. They could not establish a run, therefore they lost. I said if they could run the ball, they had a chance to win. They could not run the football at all. They did not have a chance to win at all throughout that game. But Texas Tech only scored 29 points. When you look at it, their offense really didn't do a whole lot of anything. The numbers weren't just exceptional, like perfect. So shout out to BYU for not losing like 46-12. They only let them score like 29 points. But here, I said this is a bounce back for BYU. You got TCU's 9th ranked passing offense versus BYU's 33rd ranked passing defense. You got BYU's 23rd ranked rushing offense versus TCU's 35th ranked run defense. So BYU's going to stop the pass. TCU's going to stop the run. Which one has a better chance of happening? Well, the thing is, if BYU wants to throw the football, they can. BYU doesn't have to just rely on the run game. That's what they're good at. That's their bread and butter. But if they want to come out here, if Bear Bachmeier wants to come out here and throw for 200 yards, he can. And I see it happening. I see BYU winning this game. It's in Utah. It's a night game. BYU in night games is just something about them. They spank some honey in the night. They get some honey in the night, too. They do some soaking. I wish I was a Mormon. Anyways, I'll take BYU to win this game 33-13 because I like them, because I like Sataki because I like their playoff chances. He just lost to the best team in the Big 12. We're going to have 3 teams from the Big 12 in the college football playoff. That's BYU, that's Texas Tech, that's Utah. And it's going to get real interesting with Devon Dampier, my preseason Heisman candidate. Probably not going to win the Heisman. If he does, and I put some money on that, I'll probably win some serious dinero if it happens. But who knows? That's all the games I'm talking about. That's all I got to say. And I mean, really, Steve, you got anything to say? Got anything to add? That's the bottom line because old Steve said so.